Guys, today we are going to talk about an American slasher horror film named Baby Blues. This film is also known as Cradle Will Fall and it was released in 2008. This film is directed by Lars Jacobson and Amon Kalika. The IMDb rating is 8.5 out of 10. This film is not for everyone. The story of this film is very sensitive, but it is based on a real story. In this film, a very important issue is dealt with, but it is ignored in our society for a long time. We will talk about it, but first we will discuss the story of this film and then we will know the real story. Friends, just like pillars are the foundation of a structure, our parents are the foundation of a family. Our parents protect us at any cost. This story is about a family. Mom, Dad, and their 4 little kids. Jimmy, Sammy, Kathy, and Nathan. This film didn't mention any name of Mom and Dad, so we will call them Ailey and John. They looked like other family members. But inside this family was different from others. Very different. When did this family start to have a blood relation? No one knew. The year is 1980. When this film starts, the youngest son of this family, Nathan, is only 6 months old. Ailey spends her entire day taking care of these children and spending her time at home. And John does not stay at home for maximum time. He is a truck driver who is not able to give time to his family in order to earn money for this family. His children are very young. They are not able to feel their father's absence. But Ailey misses her husband a lot. She was fed up with the responsibilities of the house. On top of that, her house is in the middle of the field, where there is nothing around except a creepy-ass scarecrow. In the name of entertainment, there is only a TV which keeps on glitching for maximum time. In the name of luxury, there is an air conditioner which has so much noise that it is better to keep it off. John is trying very hard to be financially stable, but his earnings are very less. And managing everything in such a small amount of money, forgetting all his dreams and living a colorless life was becoming very difficult for this young mom. One night, John comes back home after finishing his duty. He had driven all night, so normally he was very tired. He goes to sleep as soon as he returns home. He didn't even have time to look at his wife. We see Ailey. Visibly, she is very depressed. She always cries. She can't bear any noise. She always feels irritated. And John makes all this blind. He doesn't have time to pay attention to all this. He is going to leave again tonight. But his elder brother Jimmy notices everything. His mother is always sad. He doesn't like this. He tells his dad too. But John tells him that this is natural. After the birth of any child, moms keep getting such symptoms. He had this after the birth of Kathy. There is nothing to be afraid of. She will be fine in a few days. We see there is a radio in his house. Before leaving, like every time, John teaches Jimmy to operate the radio so that he can call for help in any trouble. And in his absence, he tells him to take care of his mother and siblings. But he didn't know that Ailey's condition has worsened. To herself. She wears lipstick with her blood and laughs in front of the mirror wearing lipstick with her blood. She is showing blood all around. Is this normal? The most ignorant John leaves with the car as soon as evening and Ailey starts preparing dinner. Jimmy knew that his mother is tired, so like Rose, he starts assisting her even today. But today Ailey's mood was a little bad. There were so many kids in the house, so there must be noise. Kathy and Sammy were also fighting with each other. Nathan also started crying loudly. With so much noise, Ailey goes crazy and throws a plate on the ground. All the kids become silent. Pin drops silence. Nathan too. Ellie takes Nathan upstairs and says that the baby needs to take a bath. But Jimmy knew that his mother had just bathed him a few days ago. So after cleaning the mess, he goes upstairs to check. He finds Nathan on the bed upstairs, but his body was cold. He was not breathing. Jimmy calls his mother. At that time, Kathy also comes there because Sammy had spilled juice on her clothes. But for this simple reason, Ailey calls her daughter a bitch and goes to kill her. When Jimmy goes to stop her, Ailey pushes her. Jimmy falls and faints. When he regains his senses, he sees that his mother is trying to drown Kathy in the bathtub and kill her. Jimmy understands that she must have killed Nathan in the same way. Now, Jimmy attacks his mother's forehead with a mirror to save his sister. She faints and Jimmy takes Kathy down. Fortunately, Kathy's sense returns in a short time. So, Jimmy gives his cycle to his brother Sammy and tells him to go to his one and only neighbor Lester, and tries to hide behind the house with Kathy. But before Sammy leaves, Ellie catches him. And with the mirror that Jimmy had hit him with, she stabs him one by one with a sharp edge and kills her own son. Her only fault was that she had seen Ellie's face and refused to go inside the house. After killing one son, this crazy woman is now chasing the other two. She is trying to find out who is the real killer. But she is unable to find out who the real killer is. Jimmy was not allowed to go inside the house. After killing one son, this crazy woman starts chasing the other two. Jimmy starts walking with Kathy from the inside of the field. There was no sound coming from behind, so she thought they were safe. But just at the same time, she finds out that her mother is following her in a tractor. Jimmy picks up a stone and throws it towards the tractor, which directly hits Ailey. Taking advantage of this, these two children start running away. But Kathy falls down in the middle of the road. She was injured in her leg. Poor girl starts crying. So Jimmy, like a brother, goes to the farm opposite and takes care of her. There he finds a bandage, but before he can first aid his sister, he hears the sound of a tractor again. But Kathy was not able to walk. She had to hide here somehow. So Jimmy tells Kathy to hide in the crates and goes up and hides in the rack. And at the same time, Ailey comes inside the farm. She was completely crazy. Her clothes were stained with blood. And she had a creepy smile on her face. She was calling her child like a mother, and at the same time she was haunting her child like a hunter. Her children were running away from her. She was not able to bear this. So she picks up a fork and starts hitting here and there. She picks up things and throws them, and in the same way, she finds Kathy. She was very scared. Her throat was dry and she couldn't breathe. But she couldn't have mercy on her daughter. She killed her sister with the same fork in front of Jimmy. And once again her body, clothes, and face were red with blood. Now only Jimmy was left. He took all the stuff from the rack and threw it on Ailey and hid himself inside the chicken coop. He was trying to escape from Ali, but he was not able to find her. Ali brutally beheads a chicken to scare him. She had already killed her pet pig Oscar. Now she chases Jimmy with a chopper. Jimmy goes to another section from a small hole from where Ali is not able to pass. But she tries to catch Jimmy by raising her hand and injures his leg with the chopper. Already, while coming here, the bananas had got stuck in Jimmy's leg in Harbury. So, he was in a bad condition. He was just praying to God that some miracle happens and Ailey comes back to her. But it was difficult to get Ailey's sanity back. But at the same time, a dog, like a savior, reaches there. It was Lester, the neighbor's dog, and he used to live here. He attacks Ellie, which gives Jimmy a chance to escape from the other hole. But in return, Ellie cuts this speechless animal into pieces. She was very tired herself, so she lies there. After all this, Lester hears the sound of a dog and he has to die in the hands of Ailey. After this, Ailey starts looking for Jimmy again, who had gone home again. First of all, he turns on the burners and leaves the tap open, which fills the house with gas and water. Jimmy tries to contact his dad, but somehow he couldn't. So he takes a small knife and puts it in his pocket. And as soon as Ali arrives here, he cleverly locks Ali in the bathroom. But he sees that Ali has broken the radio. Jimmy tries to make contact with this broken radio again. And this time, fortunately, his message reaches John. John clearly can't hear anything, only the words help and police can reach his ears. Immediately after this, Ali breaks the bathroom door, reaches this room and breaks the radio cords. This time Jimmy was cornered. There was no other way to go to him. His own mother bought him a chopper to take him to the beach. But he tries his last. He takes the knife and stabs Ailey's leg. Ailey is in pain and Jimmy gets time to run. But in return, she stabs Jimmy too. Poor Jimmy can't run anymore. Ailey starts strangling him. But maybe at such a time, a small child also gets a strange power. the power to save himself. Jimmy pushes Ellie and runs down. But Ellie is also haunted. This time she chases Jimmy with a gun. Thankfully, her hands were not steady. Jimmy did not get a single bullet. But as soon as she comes to the kitchen, she smells the gas. She realizes that the whole house is filled with gas. And now Jimmy had found a matchbox. Ellie refuses her a lot. But Jimmy has no other option. He sets the matchbox on fire. There is an explosion and he falls out of the house. After that, he somehow manages to get up and goes inside the field. Within a short time, John also reaches home. He had also contacted the police. So, in the morning, the police start searching everywhere. They find the bodies of 3 children and Jimmy too. His face was back, but he was not in himself. He was physically and mentally traumatized. Next scene is a few months later. We see Jimmy in the hospital. After a long-term treatment and counseling, he has become normal again. But for him, a new threat is still waiting for him, about which he has no idea. John comes to meet him and tells him that Ailey is alive. And in this hospital, he is also being counseled. That means, because of the water in the house, the explosion was not very effective. Both of them were saved. Doctors have explained to John that Ailey was a victim of postpartum depression, which is also called baby blues and maternity blues, because of the birth of one after another 4 children, but she did not get time to recover. This is the result of her madness. She is not responsible for this. Moreover, she was pregnant at that time. John gets an order from the court that he will have to take Ailey home when she recovers. Jimmy gets very scared after hearing this. Moreover, when he gets to know that his mother is going to be a mother again, he understands that he might have to go through the same situation again. He tries to convince his father, but no one can stop the inevitable. The ending of this film is a close-up of Ailey's face, and we don't see any sign of sanity in her eyes. Maybe a child's arrival is not going to be very fortunate. Friends, this film ends here. We do not know what happens with this family, but this film is based on Andrea Yurtz. All details about her are recorded. According to this, Andrea drowned her 5 children in the bathtub on the 20th of June 2001. She was suffering from severe postpartum depression, psychosis, and schizophrenia. After her confession, trials against her started. First, she was given a death penalty in the trial. After that, she was given a life imprisonment. And finally, in 2006, Texas jury found that she was not responsible for her insanity. So, she was not punished. Instead, she was kept in a high-security mental health facility. In January 2007, he was shifted to another hospital. And now, he is there. So, friends, as you can see, this condition, postpartum depression, is very common. Even in our society, we can see it sometimes. But in our society, it is not given with much importance. Initially, these symptoms are not that dangerous.